Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the University of South Carolina School of Medicine commencement exercises. Today we are honored to have graduating medical students from both the Columbia and the Greenville campuses with us. Please remain standing as the University Faculty Brass Quintet accompanies Ms. Samantha Ward, a 2016 MD degree candidate from the School of Medicine, Greenville, as she leads us in singing our national anthem. We will then have the invocation given by the Reverend Dr. Tom H.B. Wall.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rocket's red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave?
Join me if you would, please. Good and gracious God, divine healer, salve for the suffering. In this place where accomplishment is celebrated and hard work is extolled, we pause to give you thanks and to remember those without whom we would not be here today. In times of uncertainty and change, you have been a constant. When we felt ourselves overwhelmed with work and worry, our heads were kept above the chaotic waters. In adversity, we have been strengthened, and through many trials, we have bent but have not been broken, and so we say thank you. We are grateful for family and friends, teachers and taunters, all who have encouraged and nudged, pushed and cajoled us each step of the way these trying and stretching years. As we commence from this period of preparation into a future full of possibility, go with us, O Great One. As we strive to live out of a sacred calling to heal, may we not make a living as much as we make better the lives of others. Let our concern for curing be tempered by a quest for wholeness, and in the mystery of life and death, teach us the true measure of our days. Amen.
Please be seated. Thank you, Reverend Wall. Thank you, Ms. Ward. Thank you, University Faculty Brass Quintet. And a special thanks to our language interpreters. Don't you just love to see her do the words of the stirring Star-Spangled Banner with her hands? It's just wonderful. Thank you. This commencement involves participants from the School of Medicine, Columbia, and the School of Medicine, Greenville. This is a historic occasion for both schools. And this afternoon, I have the pleasure of welcoming both Dean Les Hall and Dean Jerry YOUKEY, who will share in the responsibilities of providing over this celebration of our graduates. Dean Hall joined the University of South Carolina School of Medicine in 2015 as the 7th permanent dean of the School of Medicine, Columbia. Dr. Hall now serves as the executive dean of the School of Medicine, Columbia, and CEO of the new Palmetto Health USC Medical Group. Dean Jerry YOUKEY joined the Greenville Health System in 1998 and subsequently took on the role of the founding dean of the School of Medicine, Greenville. In addition to his role as dean, Dr. YOUKEY serves as the associate provost for Health Sciences Greenville, a clinical professor, as well as the executive vice president of medical and academic affairs for the Greenville Health Systems. Dean Hall will now deliver the welcome.
Good afternoon. I would like to add my welcome to you to the graduation ceremony for the University of South Carolina Schools of Medicine in Columbia and Greenville. This is a joyous occasion for all of us, but especially for our graduates, their families, and friends who gather here to celebrate the accomplishments of the graduates. At this time, I would like to recognize some of the university leaders we are privileged to have with us here on stage. First, to my left, the president of the university, Dr. Harris PASTIDES, and the university provost, Dr. JOAN GABEL. Also today with us are several members of the University Board of Trustees. That includes the President or Chairman of the Board of Trustees, the Honorable Eugene P. Ward, Jr., Hugh Mobley, the Chairman of the Health Affairs Committee of the Board of Trustees, and one of our physician members of the Board of Trustees, the Honorable C. Edward Floyd. Well, I would like to ask all the members of our Board of Trustees please to stand and be recognized. To our graduates, I would say that today marks a very special accomplishment and you have much to be proud of. However, you did not make it to this point alone. Today's joys, tears, and feelings of fulfillment are to be shared with all of those who have helped you to reach this point in your career. I would like to enlist your help in thanking those individuals who are here today. So I'm going to ask the class of 2016 to please rise and turn to face your family and friends. We want to specifically acknowledge those whose love, care, and support were instrumental in getting you to this point. So I'm going to ask now if the parents, spouses, or partners of today's graduates could please stand and let us acknowledge you. Would senior mentors, grandparents, brothers, sisters, aunts, uncles, and any children of graduates or other relatives that are here please stand so you can be thanked. And lastly, there's another large group of people deserving the gratitude of our graduates, for without them, no degree would be awarded today. Would the emeritus professors, faculty, administration, and staff of the Schools of Medicine in Columbia and Greenville please stand and be recognized. Thank you. You may be seated.
Well, it is now my distinct pleasure to invite the 28th President of the University of South Carolina, Dr. Harris PASTIDES, to the podium. Mr. President.
Well, thank you, Grand Marshal Augustine. Let me also thank our friend, Reverend Tom Wall, for the beautiful invocation. And how about soon-to-be Dr. Samantha Ward? Let me tell you that as she prepares to undertake a 5-year fellowship and residency in urology, next Saturday she will be married. So, congratulations. As has been said already, today we're witnessing an exciting and a historic moment for the university. I would say it's one of the greatest days in the modern history of the university. Yes, your graduation is a spectacular moment for you and your family, and that's what we're here to focus on, no mistake about that. But as I've said, also a unique moment in our university and in our state. Today, for the very first time, we're celebrating the graduation of students from 2 great schools of medicine. I'm excited and proud to usher in this new era with you. The inaugural class of 2016 graduates from USC School of Medicine Greenville, and of course, the 2016 graduating class, University of South Carolina in Columbia, which, by the way, includes graduates not only being awarded their MD degree, but also PhD in biomedical sciences, MS in genetic counseling, in rehabilitation counseling, and in nurse anesthesia. This is nothing short of a dream being realized, a tremendous amount of planning and implementation on the part of countless individuals. But as I said before, most importantly, here you are. I'm immensely proud of the great work being done on both campuses, research, educational programming that will directly impact your ability to provide both quality and accessible health care to the people of South Carolina and, of course, beyond. You may not know that the University of South Carolina, over the past 5 years, has conferred more than 5,000 health care degrees, one of the greatest accomplishments, in fact, of our or any university in America. Every one of these physicians and every one of these healthcare practitioners is needed, and you are badly needed. The majority of you, we hope, will stay or return to our state to practice and to serve our communities. Thank you so much for at least considering that. And wherever you go, take us with you. Love your school. Keep the memories of your teachers, mentors, your friends, and your patients with you. You are now part of a network of approximately 300,000 Carolina alumni worldwide. About half of those reside in South Carolina, by the way. And now, by the way, you also have a beautiful new alumni home or alumni center right here in Columbia to return to anytime you're nearby. Please come and visit that. Ladies and gentlemen, in closing, let's congratulate again, but not for the last time, the graduates of the 2016 classes, Schools of Medicine. Let's recognize our soon-to-be physicians, other healthcare professionals, the 2016 graduates of our schools of medicine. Let's do that one more time, please. And we now come to that part of the ceremony where the university will confer its highest recognition, the honorary doctoral degree. The achievements of our recipient are officially recorded in the degree citation printed in your program. It makes clear why this individual brings genuine esteem to our university family. Dean Jerry YOUKEY has a candidate for the honorary doctoral degree.
Mr. President, I have a candidate for the honorary degree Doctor of Science, Darrel Kirch, our speaker. Darrel G. Kirch, President and Chief Executive Officer of the American Medical Association Colleges, earned his bachelor's degree and his medical degree from the University of Colorado, and completed his residency in psychiatry there in 1982, while conducting research on the biological basis of clinical treatments for severe neuropsychiatric disorders. He subsequently joined the National Institute of Mental Health in Bethesda, Maryland, and was named acting scientific director in 1993. From 1994 to 2000, he held several leadership positions at the Medical College of Georgia, including service as dean. He then served as Senior Vice President for Health Affairs, Dean of the College of Medicine, and CEO of the Milton S. Hershey Medical Center at Pennsylvania State University. After being chosen to lead the AAMC in 2006, Dr. Kirch was chair-elect of the association and co-chaired the Liaison Committee on Medical Education, the accreditation body for all medical schools in the United States and Canada. Dr. Kirch is a member of several professional societies, has published more than 140 articles and book chapters, has made numerous presentations to medical, educational, scientific, and advocacy organizations, and has been recognized by the United States Public Service with its Outstanding Service Medal. In 2002, the University of Colorado presented him with its Silver and Gold Alumni Award. In 2007, he was elected to the National Academy of Medicine, and in 2014, he was named a Distinguished Life Fellow by the American Psychiatric Association.
Thank you, Dean YOUKEY. Will the Honorable Eugene Warr, Chair of the University's Board of Trustees, and Amy Stone, Secretary of the Board, please escort the candidate to the rostrum?
For his dedication to research and clinical efforts in the field of psychiatry, for his service on behalf of medical education at hundreds of medical schools and major teaching hospitals across the country, and for his advocacy on behalf of transforming the nation's healthcare system through medical education, research, and patient care, the University of South Carolina, with the approval of its Board of Trustees, now presents Darrel G. Kirch the honorary degree of Doctor of Science.
By virtue of the authority vested in me by the Board of Trustees, acting on behalf of the people of South Carolina through the General Assembly of the state, I hereby now do confer upon you the degree Doctor of Science honoris causa, together with all the rights, honors, privileges, and responsibilities thereto appertaining. Congratulations, Dr. Kirch.
I want to thank the President, the Provost, the Board for a truly humbling honor. It's a special pleasure, especially for somebody who lived in Georgia for 7 years to now be a degree recipient from the University of South Carolina. I'm also humbled by the fact that so many of you took time out to crowd into this room today just to hear me speak. I'm acutely aware of what the main attraction is today, and I promise that I'm not going to keep you from it that long. But you've given me the privilege, the honor of speaking to you today, and I'm going to take advantage of it to talk about just a few things. One thing that has occurred to me, I presided over 13 commencements as a medical school dean, and every time I sat on the stage and watched this event, I had these memories come back to me, some of which were decades old, of my own medical school experience, of my clinical experience, and they're as vivid as if they had just happened yesterday. So with apologies to people receiving other degrees, my memories are mainly from getting an MD degree. I wanted to just test to see if any of these even ring true to you. We did not have white coat ceremonies. We went to the bookstore and bought our white coat. And I knew I was buying the right size, but when I got home and finally had the courage to try it on in front of a mirror, I'm sure that I had the same experience most of you had when you had your white coat ceremony and you put your coat on, which is it didn't seem to fit, and you felt like an imposter, right? Suddenly putting this coat on, and it was the right size. But the reason it didn't fit was I think it needed to be filled with the spirit of a number of the gifts that would follow throughout medical school. It was shortly after that we started a fairly traditional gross anatomy course, and I can still remember walking into the lab that first day and having the smell of the formalin, the formaldehyde hit me, and thinking, I don't believe I can do this. I'm not sure I'm tough enough to do it. And then I remember with my classmates going ahead and managing our way through that experience. And eventually, I realized the gift. You memorialized that gift when on each of your schools you had a ceremony to honor the donors. The gift was somebody had in death given you their body so that you could better understand life. Who else gets a gift of that magnitude? I can still vividly remember the first time they let me in the room alone with the patient. I sat myself down in the chair at the bedside. This was in the Denver VA hospital, and there was a gentleman who did not look at all well. I sat in the chair and I introduced myself as the medical student who would be helping take care of him, and immediately this look of deep concern swept across his face. And after a while, I realized that it probably, maybe some of it was his concern about what I had to offer. But actually, in his case, I think it was more concern about whether I was really going to be, after a string of people running in and out of his room, whether I would really actually be the person who would listen to him. And when I did listen, it turned out that he and my father, although I'm sure they didn't know each other, had both had the same experience of fighting through that terrible winter in the Battle of the Bulge in World War II. They were both members of the greatest generation. And his life hadn't turned out well. He was not doing well, not only medically, but personally, socially. And I thought, he just gave me the gift of a story that helped me see the person behind her, person not that unlike my own father. One of my most vivid memories is the first, when I was on OB, when you enter your obstetrics rotation, you wait for the chance. I apologize for this expression, but it's what we say. You wait for the chance to actually catch the baby. But you have to wait your turn. And finally, the day came when the attending said, okay, this is your delivery. There were no complications in his mind. Nothing could go wrong. And so I did everything as I'd rehearsed it in my mind, and I delivered the baby into my hands, and he leaned toward me, and I was sure he was going to say, "My son, now you are a doctor," or something like that. And he whispered in my ear, "I really wish you wouldn't hold the baby quite so tightly." But then when I finally processed it all, do you realize that this young couple had given me the gift of being personally there at what was probably one of the most intimate and special moments of their lives? Some of the biggest gifts you've been given came from the people you're sitting beside and the people up here. I would bet, you don't have to raise your hand, but I would bet there are maybe more than one person in this audience who gave somebody down here their first Fisher-Price doctor kit. But even more than that, they gave you the gift of believing in you, and then you gave it to each other. I am sure there were moments when you thought it was too much, that you just wouldn't be able to push through, and somebody sitting in this group with you helped you do just that. So these gifts are what makes the white coat real. You wear your white coat now with tremendous ease and comfort because it's been filled with the richness, the spirit that all these gifts have given you. And you need to remember them because it is not going to be easy. Some of you may even have a loan to repay. But even more than that, you're going to see some very, very tough things. If you're a genetic counselor, you may be the person helping that family understand some truly difficult, tragic news. For the physicians, you will do the same thing. You need those memories to tell you where you've come from. But I think you also need something more to tell you where you stand. You know, when I was taking that anatomy course and trying to process the reality that I was being asked to understand hundreds, probably it's thousands, right, of bones, attachment points, ligaments, muscles, nerves, artery, veins, lymphatics, I was trying to remember all those things. We also had our first class in clinical ethics, and I loved its simplicity. Here I'm trying to learn 1,000 anatomic structures, and I only needed to remember 4 things as the core principle of medical ethics. First one is called beneficence. It just means try to do good for that patient in front of you. And I've actually found over the years, and I think you will find that's the easiest. Every physician I know wakes up in the morning intending to do the very best they can for the patients they encounter that day. The second one, you remember, we call non-maleficence. That means do no harm. Well, I would be certain that also every physician wakes up in the morning with no intention to do harm. The problem I think we face now is as our medical ability to intervene gets better and better, our power to do harm becomes more powerful. I would wager that every person in this room, physician, PhD or not, knows of a case where somebody suffered too much at the end of life, perhaps because of well-intentioned attempts to prolong that life, when in reality the pain, the suffering, the burden was really increased for them. Just look at our treatment of cancer. And in the course of trying to cure a cancer, the very real harm and suffering that can result. I'm not saying you'll be able to eliminate that from your practice, but you'll have to take great care, and you will have tough conversations with patients to try and find that balance point between the good you can do and the harm you might create. Now, the third one, I would argue, the third principle is autonomy. I think this one has become more difficult because I have far too many colleagues of my generation who are physicians who think it's about the doctor's autonomy and independence, when in reality, as you know, it's about the patients and their freedom of choice, their independence, their autonomy. And then the last principle is the one I think for which we face serious trouble. In every scheme of ethics you will read, they allude to something like social justice. That as a physician, you want to see a system that works for everybody, not just for some haves but leaves out some have-nots. You've seen it in the ER. For those of you who trained as EMTs, you saw it there. This country has way too many people who are have-nots when it comes to the healthcare system. They end up making too many trips to the emergency room simply because they don't have basic preventive and primary care. I was a product of a medical school in the 70s. We were going to change the world. I love the profession I chose, but my biggest regret is that we still have so many glaring inequities when it comes to health care in this country. So I guess the last thing I want to ask of you is to make a commitment. I think more and more physicians, as tired, as fatigued, as burned out, as many of them feel, I think more and more of us, especially of my generation, feel some sense of failure, that we didn't resolve these inequities. What I'd like you to do is promise to join with us to really try and make this our joint cause, our shared purpose in the years to come. It isn't just giving people an insurance card. It's actually helping them learn the health behaviors, obtain the primary preventive services, have access to the specialty and subspecialty services that I get. I'm one of the haves, but I'd like them to get too. So I don't want to dampen your celebration today because you deserve it. You have worked so hard. But together we have work to do to bring health to a lot of people who still don't get it in South Carolina and in the nation. I believe it's more within reach than it's ever been in my lifetime. Let's join together and make it happen. Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you, Dr. Kirch. The President will now award the degrees.
Provost GABEL will present the candidates.
Will the candidates for degrees please rise? Mr. President, all candidates who stand before me and others who cannot be present, but whose achievement is being recorded officially by the university, having completed the requirements for their several degrees, are herewith recommended by the faculty of the university for the award of their degrees.
By virtue of the authority vested in the University of South Carolina, by the people of this state, acting through their representatives in the General Assembly and on the Board of Trustees of this institution, and on the recommendation of the faculty thereof, the university now confers upon you the degree for which you have been recommended, together with all the rights, honors, privileges, and responsibilities thereto appertaining. Ladies and gentlemen, the new doctors and other graduates of the University of South Carolina.
Well, I'm going to ask the graduates to continue to proceed backstage at this time. And while they're doing that, I want to remind the members of the audience that this hooding and recognition of our students is special for all who have achieved their degrees. We appreciate the help of everyone here in preserving the dignity and prestige of this ceremony during the announcement of each recipient's name. Any noise you make in celebrating the graduation of someone you know ruins the ceremony by drowning out the announcement of another graduate's name. Please hold your applause until the end of the hooding ceremony, and everyone will be given the opportunity to express themselves appropriately. Dr. Lynn Crespo and Dr. Spence Taylor will now present each member of the School of Medicine Greenville class of 2016 with hoods signifying their degrees. The members of the Columbia class of 2016 will be presented by Dr. Judy Burgess and Dr. James Stallworth. Following the hooding of our medical students, Dr. Francis Spinelli, Dr. Edie Goldsmith, Miss Peggy Walker, Mr. Winston King, and Dr. Carrie Litchance will recognize the graduates in their respective graduate programs. As your name is called, please come forward for the presentation.
Amr Muhammad Ansari. Kara Lauren Barlow. Kara Lauren Barlow.
Thanks.
Ryan Jeffrey Batson. Robert Blaney Bonanno. Chanel Lynn Bonds. Natalie Lynn Bott. Charles Philip Callahan, Jr. Alexis Michelle Cannon. Michelle Frances Caskey. Thomas Jeffrey Cochran. Jensen Kristen Cohn. Amanda Michelle Craig. Brittany Kaiser Crum. Kindle Wessel Dankovitz. Jennifer Susan Davis. Matthew Davison Eisenstadt. Eric Stephen Fulmer. Trevor Stephen Gravely. Christine Lynn Griffin. Maya Maria Nelson Griffin. Christina Shelley Guda. Reba Magdalene Halsey. Molly Catherine Hamilton. Justin Alexander Harold. Alyssa Ann James. John Evan James IV. Benjamin Keith Johnson. Stuart William Lee. Georgia Grace Lesser. Madison Lee Merritt. Catherine Ann Peterson. Shay Bilby Ray. Shane Gregory Riegard. Jennifer Hope Reinofsky. Kyle Matthew Ryberg. Elise Joy Sadow. Andrew Griffith C. Chelsea Rose Smith. Stephen Dane Swinehart, Jr. Robert Kyle Townsend. Charlotte Frances Van Hale. Jeffrey Carson Vanderwood. Benjamin Joseph Velke. Samantha Caroline Ward. Paige Cribb Woodham. Darrel Terrence Wright.
Candidates for the degree of Doctor of Medicine, School of Medicine, Columbia. Jeevan Chichakano Abraham. Danielle Marie Anderson. Jared Williams Atkinson. Matthew James Osborne. Thomas Stephen Barano. Chadwick Dale Bars. Sarah Elizabeth Kane Battle. Sean Joseph Battle. Gerald William Bennett, Jr. Michael John Blage. Jonathan Carl Boguski. Matthew Richard Bowser. Candace Marie Broussard. Adam Brunson. William Boyce Burns. Anthony Neal Chatham. Lauren Nicole Chatham. Stephen Butler Kraft. Michael Jesse Crooks. Darian Brian Davda. Whitney Michelle Dawson. Kent Russell Edwards, Jr. Uchechi Chidima Ebahuso. Ashley Lynn Evans. Sarah Chandler Finney. Allison Nicole Ford. Brett Channing Fornell. Brett Barbary Fowler. Sarah Emily Frederick. Erin Lindsay Funderburk. Joseph Daniel Galloway. Nicole Hackshanis. Gregory Ryder Hand. Mark Cambridge Hines, Jr. Chase Chapman Houghton. Bethany Joy Holbert. Savannah Eve Hurt. Stephen Kyle Jones. Jason Roger Kearns. Joseph Delton King III. Thomas Wilbur Lenz III. Christina Lee. Ha-Yu Henry Lin. Catherine Britt Logothetis. Ashley Ryan Major. Donna Lee Mariano. John Joseph Marigliano. Andrew Roscoe Mather. Austin Lee Roach McJunkins. Nina Marie Melatice. Brandon Levy Mizell. Amir Hissam Madares. Elizabeth Jewel Maramer. Matthew William Mubarak. Travis Michael Muthig. Richard Alden Neese. Osita Chinamira Obi. Gregory Olatosin Oganowo. EJ C. Okereke. Brittany Watson Page. Sarah Caitlin Parnell. Andrea Camila Parra. Derek Michael Partial. Rishi Ashok Patel. Paulina Patel. Zilil Parahia. Christopher John Perko. Mary Hannah Pittman. Andrea Dickinson Richmond Mart. Alexa Suzanne Reister. Carol Jane Blanchard Robertson. Jember Latifa Robinson. William Roy Reister IV. Cameron Mitchell Ryan. Mary Caroline Salibi. Mohammed Dia Salim. Nicholas John Schmidt, Jr. Eric Jeffrey Schmeeler. Casey Ann Shook. Harrison Banks Smith. Tyler Ryan Stoltz. Hugh Wong Tran. Lindsay Marie Vendetta. Sean Michael Wadley. Alexander Morse Wagner. Brian Philip Williams. Lauren Rook Wingfield. Jason Maurice Ray II. Candidates for the degree of Doctor of Philosophy in Biomedical Science, Shana Roach Watson. Candidates for the degree of Master of Science in Biomedical Science, Fadi Farouk Aboudi. Lydia Joyce Proctor. Catherine Elizabeth Van Dorn. Candidates for the degree of Master of Science in Genetic Counseling, Caitlin Marie Anderson. Barbara Alexandra Athens. Stephanie Noel Galloway. Faith Michelle Cobb. Natasha Louise Rudy. Zoe Elizabeth Siegel, Molly Elizabeth Snyder, Amelia Cordell Warden. Candidates for degree of Master of Nurse Anesthesia, Rachel Elizabeth Avila, Michael Francis Bachmeyer, Patricia Dawn Blake, Jessica Cruz Bradley, Michael Walker Britt, Flynn Walton Cockfield Jr., Erica Judith Connor, Karen Marie Moorwinkle, Lauren Elizabeth Prickett, Erica Lindsay Reed, Natalie Ellis San Miguel, Charlotte Marie Smith, Christina Dillard Smith, Susanna Sullivan Tharp, Kayla Inglet Wyndham. Candidates for the degree of Masters of Rehabilitation Counseling, Tequila Latasha Frazier, Rhiannon Elizabeth Hunley, Katrina Denise McFadden, Jenna Marie Solly.
Let's hear it right now for each and every one of these graduates.
In the back of your programs, you will find a list of students and faculty who have received awards over the course of the 2015 to 2016 academic year. We'd like to briefly recognize those. Will the students and faculty that have received those awards please now rise to be acknowledged? Thank you. You may be seated. I'd like to now introduce the president of the Columbia class of 2016, Dr. Harrison Smith, who will present the O'Neill Barrett Awards.
The O'Neill Barrett Teaching Excellence Awards are named in honor of Distinguished Professor Emeritus of Medicine O'Neill Barrett Jr., MD, preeminent teacher and role model for the University of South Carolina medical students. These annual awards are given by the senior class in recognition of teaching excellence over the 4 years of medical study. This year's recipients are Dr. Floyd Bell and Dr. Brian Kiesler. I'll now ask Dean Hall to please return to the podium to give the Dean's Award.
The Columbia Dean's Award is presented to the graduating medical student who, during the 4 years of study, has developed the highest attributes of the medical profession as reflected in academic and clinical achievement, devotion to patient care, and leadership among his or her peers. The 2016 Columbia Dean's Award is presented to Kent Russell Edwards, Jr. I would now like to introduce the Greenville class president, Dr. Ryan Batson, who will present the teaching awards for the School of Medicine, Greenville.
The Teaching Excellence Awards for USC School of Medicine, Greenville are awarded by the class of 2016 in recognition of outstanding teaching during the 4 years of medical school. This year, we would like to present these awards to Dr. Francis Nuthalapati and Dr. Shanna Williams. Dean YOUKEY will now present the Dean's Awards for the School of Medicine, Greenville.
The Greenville Dean's Award is presented to the graduating medical student who, during the 4 years of study, has developed the highest attributes of the medical profession as reflected in academic and clinical achievement, devotion to patient care, and leadership among his or her peers. I am proud to present the 2016 University of South Carolina School of Medicine Greenville Dean's Award to Dr. Kendall Dankovich. Dean Hall will now administer the oath of Hippocrates.
Will the recipients of the degree of Doctor of Medicine please stand for administration of the oath of Hippocrates? Please repeat after me. I do solemnly swear by that which I hold most sacred that I will be loyal to the profession of medicine and just and generous to its members. That I will lead my life and practice my art in uprightness and honor. That into whatsoever house I shall enter, it shall be good for the good of the sick and the well. To the utmost of my power, holding myself aloof from wrong, from corruption, and from the tempting of others to vice. That I will practice my art solely for the cure of my patients and the prevention of disease, and will give no drug and perform no operation for a criminal purpose, far less suggest it. That whatsoever I shall see or hear of the lives of men and women which is not fitting to be spoken, I will keep inviolably secret. These things I do promise, and in proportion as I am faithful to this my oath, may happiness and good repute be ever mine. The opposite if I shall be forsworn. Thank you. You may be seated.
Says on my little script here, closing remarks, so we're at the end. I want to offer my personal congratulations to the trailblazers from Greenville, as you've been referred to, or as Dr. Buggy likes to say, you pioneers, and to our own students from Columbia. I had the privilege of being at the very first one of these events in 1981. And let me say the university has come a long way in terms of its commitment to increasing the health care of South Carolina. We are grateful that each of you could be with us today. We thank you for your willingness to help in adding dignity and prestige to this occasion. After the benediction and the singing of the alma mater, the recessional music will begin, and key members of the platform party will depart with the maze as the first part of the recessional. They will process to the Colonial Life Arena to participate in the undergraduate, master's, and professional degree commencement exercise, which will begin shortly. Please rise for the benediction, which will be given by Reverend Dr. Wall. Remain standing as the University Faculty Brass Quintet accompanies Dr. Joseph Galloway in singing our alma mater.
Doctors and graduates and friends, I offer you this Franciscan-styled benediction, a blessing. May you be blessed with discomfort, at easy answers, half-truths, and superficial relationships, so that you may live deeply within your heart. May you be blessed with enough failure to prevent the overtaking of the weeds of arrogance and to promote the sowing of the seeds of humility. May you be blessed with tears to shed for those who suffer pain, poverty, and violence, so that you may reach out the hand of comfort to them and turn their night into morning. And may you be blessed with enough foolishness to believe that you can make a difference in the world, so that you can do what others claim cannot be done, to bring justice and kindness to the poor and all our children. Blessings be upon you.
We hail thee, Carolina, and sing thy high praise. With loyal devotion, remembering the days when proudly we sought thee, thy children to be. Here's a health carol